Welcome to Land a House. I'm Seth. My well pump pulls a lot of silt and sediment up from the ground, and it clogs up against my house filter and causes low pressure and reduced water in the house. Introducing the Wheelton Spin Down pre-filter for removing silt and sediment from water. This is going to go after the pressure tank, but before the house filter system. Let's unbox this, take a look at its features, and get this installed to see how well it works. Let's see what all comes in the box of this filter. This is the Wheelton high-end pre-filter WHT P0038 Pro. When we open this up, there is a bag that has a gasket or O-ring. It has a tube to allow the flush to occur. It's also got a couple of these rubber washers in here. There's a user manual that shows how to install and gives some information about the product, which we will learn more about here in just a moment. It is packaged well with some foam. It has two adapters that go from 1 inch to 3/4 inch. So depending on what your house plumbing looks like, you can adapt using these. And then if we pull the actual filter out of the bag here, you can see what that looks like. So here on the front, it's got the Wheelton logo, as you can see right there. It has some protective plastic pieces over the input and output. There are arrows indicating the direction of flow, as you can see here, which is very important. Up here on the top, there's a little debris knob there. Shows you, we'll go over that here in just a bit. So it does have a clear housing, so you can see the spinning occurring. And it has filters in here which will spin with water pressure, and that will clean those filters off for you. You can still open this unit up if you need to access and clean things, but for now we will be doing without doing that. Down here at the bottom, there is a knob that allows you to turn on or off the flush here on the bottom, and that has a press in attachment there. So you're just going to press that white tube in there, and then you use this little blue clip to go over that, and that will lock that hose into position. The mesh size inside of this filter is 40 micron, so it is going to capture dust and silt and sediment very well before it hits your house filter, and that will save the life of your house filter significantly and also let you flush this out without having to unscrew any components, which is very nice. This can pass 26 gallons per minute. I'm assuming that's whenever it has been flushed and it doesn't have particles stuck to it. But 26 gallons a minute will definitely flow enough water for a whole family in a household. So very nice to be able to pass that much water through this filter. All of the plastic pieces in this unit are BPA free, so you don't have to worry about those toxic chemicals getting to anybody that's going to be drinking this water. The operating range is 41 degrees all the way up to 104 degrees, so a huge operating temperature. And lastly, the metal screen inside used for the filter is 316L stainless steel, and so you should never have an issue with this rusting or falling apart due to oxidation. I've used a different pre-filter, and you can see just how much silt and sediment builds up around this filter, and it doesn't really wash off too well sometimes. And so let's go ahead and get the Wheelton installed and see how well it performs with that spinning cleaner. I removed my whole house filter from my well water supply here, so now it's time to get the Wheelton installed. I have the direction of flow going in this way here, so I need to install it just like this. If I did it backwards, it wouldn't work out. So also, this is 3/4 inch, this is 1 inch, and so I am going to have to use the included adapters, and be sure to put those rubber washers in there to make sure that it's not going to have any leaks. I should not have to have any Teflon tape on this because of that rubber washer. So I'm going to install that on both sides and make sure it is nice and tight. I'm going to use a couple of wrenches here to make sure those connections are nice and tight to prevent any leaks from occurring. Alright, now this right here is a male thread and this is a male thread, and so I have also picked up an adapter to go from here to here, which means I need to put Teflon tape on both this side here and this side right here. While I'm here, I might as well also put some on the other side, as we're going to need it. Now keep in mind, if you hold the Teflon tape in your right hand and you swing over the top, it's going to allow this to tighten down on the Teflon tape, and it will keep it in place instead of pulling it free if you go the other direction. Let's get this adapter over here. Make sure that's good and tight. All right, like I said before, make sure the arrow is pointing in the direction of the flow. Once again, use this wrench to make sure it's nice and tight. And now, on the other end over here, I'm going to reinstall my whole house filter. All right, it was a very tight connection here between my whole house filter and the Wheelton Spin Down. And so they're kind of off to a little angle. Nothing I can do about that. All right, so this little tube here is going to be connected underneath. And so, like I showed before, I'm going to remove that little blue tab, and that's going to allow this tube to fit up in there using a little bit of pressure. There we go. And then I'm going to be able to replace this little blue ring, and that's going to hold that pressure fitting in there so it's not going to be coming back out. It's a pretty handy design. All right, let me go ahead and turn the water on here. See if I have any leaks. All right, now whenever I turn this on, I should see a jet of water come out. Whew, yep. And there's the spin effect too. I may have to stick this hose out of my crawl space so we can get a full flow through this. So that being the case, I'm also anticipating this to spin whenever I turn on the water into my house. Let's give it a try here. Yep, there it goes. Spinning nice and quick. And as soon as that fills up here, it's going to stop spinning because there's no more water flowing. Not sure how well that's going to show up, but there's already a little bit of debris floating around in that housing. So it will fill up pretty quick, but seeing the amount of pressure that came out of that white tube, I'm thinking it's going to clean itself pretty quick. Very nice. All right, let me go ahead and stick that tube out the window so we can see this spin up at full force. That shot water 20 feet out the window here. Let's watch the self-cleaning wheel start up again whenever I let more water into the house. It is spinning rather quickly in there. So those cleaners are pulling debris off the screen and letting it fall down into this lower housing here. And that will need to be flushed out probably in a week or two because I have a lot of silt and sediment in my water here. As the house fills up with water, this should slow way down. All right, so I'm already seeing a good bit of stuff clogged up on the filter there. So it will be interesting to see how well this silt sloughs off whenever I clean that. Actually, I'm seeing it falling off right now as we speak. Very slowly falling off that mesh. All right, seeing what we have here already in just the first couple of seconds, let me do a flush and see how well these particles get flushed out. All right, I'm going to hold the tube out the window again. Check that out. That's awesome. It has flushed all of those bits away from the screen, and now it is clean again. Now you may have seen just how bad this water was before, so I'm going to give this about a week and we will see if it will slough off a tremendous amount of buildup. And I also want to see how the flow rate is affected over that amount of time as well. And I also want to see how much debris gets stuck in my whole house filter through this 40 micron here. So very cool. All right, I'll see you back in a week. Several days have passed and I started noticing that the water pressure in the house was getting low. Let's go ahead and take a look at the filter and see what's going on. I checked down here a moment ago and realized that the screen cleaner has stopped spinning around. And so hopefully whenever I flush this out, it will start cleaning again. Now I do have a lot of silt in my water, and that's probably what has caused this to clog up. So let me go ahead and do a drain real quick and see if we can get this to start spinning once again. And I'm going to hold the drain tube out my crawl space door here. And I'm going to open up the knob down here, and hopefully we'll see this start spinning again and clean that screen off. I got this fully open. I'm not seeing any spin on that. So let's go ahead and try that again. Maybe I'll open it a bit quicker. Nope, still no spin. Interesting. All right, we may have to open this up and see if we can't get the screen to free up inside of here. I've closed off my whole house filter and turned the water off from the well. Let's go ahead and relieve the pressure here. All right, so open that up and it no longer has pressure behind it. So I should be able to unscrew this and clean it out manually. Let's give it a try. Yeah, okay, I was able to get that open. Okay, so let's see how this thing is constructed here. I'm able to spin this around like this right here, and it is moving the screen inside a little bit. Let's see if just doing that is enough to get that broken free so it will begin to spin on its own again. No, still not spinning. It's supposed to spin every time that the water comes on to clean that screen off in there. I've pulled this plastic piece off a couple of times trying to get that filter out from inside, and so far it's a bit too difficult to remove. I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver and pull that out. Let me see one more time if it'll spin whenever I apply full pressure to it. You can spin the bottom here, which I feel like maybe is one way to get that thing to go. See, it's spinning pretty free in there right now. But when you do this, it's not spinning. I just got a small screwdriver, and I think that's going to allow me to pop this filter loose here, which is supposed to be able to be cleaned. And what I'm seeing is there is some fine gravel stuck around the edge of this. And I'm wondering if that's what's causing this to not be able to spin. All right, there we go. I got that out of there. Try to see if I can find out what's preventing that from spinning around here. Okay, it looks like it's not the silt and sediments issue. There may be a defect on the screen here. Let me see if I can pull this out and see what's going on here. So right here on the screen, it looks like it's pinched or pushed up. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing. I was able to pull the bottom of this filter off, and it allows this to slide out here. And if I look at the screen seems fine, except for this one little lump right here. And I think that's what was causing the issue. It somehow just got bulged up right there and caused it to catch. But now I feel like it's sliding pretty effortlessly. So let's go ahead and get this reattached and give it another couple of days to see how well it performs. I was noticing a good bit of this fine sand or silt along the top edge right here. I don't know if that had any effect on it whatsoever. I'm just going to clean that back off. I think the bulge on that screen is what the issue was. Okay, let me turn the water back onto this. Here we go. Yep, there we are. So the issue was that there was a little bulge in the mesh screen inside of here, and that caused that spinner to stop spinning. So let me give this another couple of days, see if it happens again. Hopefully it doesn't, and this thing spins as it's supposed to and automatically cleans that screen. 4 days have passed now that the filter was cleaned out, and I'm seeing that the screen is now covered again with that silt. Let me see if I can spin this to move some of that down. All right, I can see it falling. Hopefully you can see that as well. Let me see if I flush this, if it'll allow the screen to spin again. I think I'm going to close my whole house filter real quick, and then we will try to spin this up again. I'm going to stick the drain pipe out the window again and turn this knob on. Nope, it is not spinning. All right, looks like the silt and sand in my system is just too fine and is getting stuck there on that screen. Let me open this up again and see if I can't get it to clean up a little bit. Well, it doesn't seem to be catching like it was before, which I suppose is a good thing. Let me see if this will pop out. Yeah, so what seems to be happening is the silt is getting, or the sand is getting stuck around this ring right here, and it won't let it spin properly. So I'm not sure that I can do anything about that. I just noticed that I've always been spinning the filter in this direction, and it perhaps wasn't cleaning all that well, but I can also spin it in this direction, and it locks down the screen inside here to spin a bit better. But the tolerance isn't quite close enough to contact the screen and really do much of a clean on it. All right, let me see if it'll spin freely now that I've done that a time or two. Well, I feel like it tries to spin, but doesn't actually get there. I'm finding that an effective way to clean this screen is to use an old toothbrush, such as this one right here, and just go in there and remove that. This end cap here can be removed with just popping it loose, and then you can also pop loose these protective plastic pieces here, and that will allow you to access the screen in full. And you can use a toothbrush to clean that off if you need to. And then you can just take some water and rinse it. But to be honest, it seems to clean up pretty quick here with the toothbrush. Well, I gave the Wheelton Spin Down filter over a week to test out. Let's go ahead and open this up and see what it's like. So 3 different times it filled up with so much silt that my water pressure was just a trickle in the house. So let's go ahead and take a look at these components here. So first thing I noticed is that you can tighten this down and still spin this lower portion to kind of manually clean things. And it just doesn't really connect with the screen close enough to actually get a good clean in there. So let's go ahead and use a small screwdriver again to pop this free so we can get this out of here. So I just place the screwdriver in here and kind of pop it a little bit, and it pulls that filter out. So you can see that a good bit of sand or silt or like little tiny pieces of gravel have gotten into the filter, and it makes it difficult to pop this free. Let's see if I can get it here. There we go. All right, so I'm thinking, whoop, lots of water. Let me dump that out. Okay, I dumped that water out of there. So you can see just how much silt builds up here in my water from my well. So it gets around this edge up here and kind of stops everything up from being able to flow. So if we take a look at the screen itself, if I spin this, it's supposed to be able to clean it, but I don't know if you can see in there or not. It doesn't really get all that close to it to be able to make contact. And also, right, let's see if I can find it. Right here, the mesh seems to be pinched up, and that's what is truly causing this screen not to spin. So if I press it down, well, it's actually got some debris under it now. Now it spins a little more free. Actually, I can pull this off and show it to you here. All right, there we go. So there is the amount of silt that is stopping this water from flowing. It's a very fine and kind of nasty silt that we have around here. So right here is where that little lip pops up, and it doesn't allow this to spin properly. And that's what's causing it, I think, to fail here. Otherwise, when it doesn't have the silt in there, it does spin freely. But that right there, that little crease, definitely an issue on this filter. Now, every water system is going to be different. My well water just happens to be brutal with that silt and sediment that comes up. But for the average person that has rusty water or a little bit of sand and silt, then this is going to work really well because it will not accumulate quite as much as my well does here. So keep that in mind, that it will perform a lot better on the average person's water system. I'm finding that if you turn on the flush valve quickly, it will help to eliminate that silt and debris from around the screen and get things moving nice and quick. And of course, after you've cleaned off the screen, you reinstall and it will continue to run because that stainless steel screen is not going to rust and will be able to run this filter for a very long time. So what are my honest thoughts here on the Wheelton Spin Down filter? First of all, the concept is great. I really enjoy that. This right here is an easy to open knob, and the pressure was significant, and it did flush out a good bit of the material. But the other half of this filter is to have this little spinner clean this screen, and as soon as it spins it, it would then send the water out this exit tube. But this right here was getting caught on that little lip there on the screen and not able to spin and clean as it was designed to. So I would have to say that my thoughts are, it's a good concept, but it needs a little bit of fine-tuning in order to work properly. And I don't know if this was just a defective screen that I got to have it crease up like that, or if the spinning was going on strong enough that it caused it to pinch. So I'm not exactly sure on that. So I think that they are developing this product, and they will make changes if they need to. And so I'd like to see in the future perhaps a tighter screen around this, and then also some way to prevent the sand and silt from hitting the top edge up here and causing this to get stuck. So like if I were to press it in there right now, it wouldn't come back out because of all that sand that's in there. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this filter. I feel like the way that this right here spins is a really fun idea, and they could probably find some way of using that manual spin to clean that filter off, even if this part right here wasn't spinning the way it was supposed to. So, well, I will have a link to this in the description down below if you want to learn some more information about it. The company did send this to me for this review, and I appreciate that. It's always nice to try out new things for water filtration because, as you can see in my water system, I have a ton of sediment that builds up. Honestly, I probably should have my well pump pulled up a little bit, but that's a lot of work. I'm Seth Johnson with the Land to House channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.